And so, yeah, if you're interested in that as well, send me a DM or just check our website. We have a program called Technical Product Managers. If you're a product manager, you know that there is, I don't know what to call it. I'm tempted to say pandemic, but it's not a pandemic, of technical product managers. So I get a lot of messages, people reach out in the community, outside the community, that they need product managers. Um uh yeah, they need product managers and so on. So but there's been like a recent development of people actually coming to say they want specifically technical product management. I feel like I want us to lead a conversation around that maybe later, right, on why there is a need for or maybe it's just me. I mean, so that I don't feel like, oh, maybe it's just me as well, but I don't think it's just me, because even just today I've seen like 5 job opportunities for only technical product management managers. So we have a program for technical product managers. We have a program for technical product managers. You're a software engineer, you want to transition into technical product management, or you just want to carve a niche around that, we have a program for that. So I'll be dropping that link as well in the comment section, so that you can also check that out. We have a program. If you're an undergraduate, you are not left behind. We have a program called Product Management Foundation. So this program is to help you test, okay, do I really want to do this product management thing? Is this something that I want to do? Do I, and it's at a very discounted, fee for undergraduates, that's very, very affordable for undergraduates. And I think it's a very good program to take if you're interested in product management and you're an undergraduate. Trust me. I think that it is not like your regular, quick program that you see, around. Yeah. So I think that if you're an undergraduate, you have an interest in product management, you don't know how to place it, I think it's a program that you won't take. We also have a program for NYSC core members. So if you're a core member, we have a program for you as well. So at this point, I think that I will, that's it about our programs. Thank you once again for joining us. We have 87 people on this call. Please don't drop, because we have a lot of things to do. This particular session is going to be divided into 2. We have the theory part and we have the practical aspect as well. I mean, you are doing like a proper workshop. And I have with me here Marlene. She's the program manager for the Growth Product Management Program at Product Dive, and she'll be leading this conversation as with our speakers. We are going to be doing this together, so don't drop off. We are going to be having an exciting time. I'll be joining later, but right now I'm going to just be passing the mic to Marlene. And yeah, hi Marlene. How are you doing?
Hi, Toby. Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's so good to have us on this call. I mean, I feel like today is Christmas. I'm seeing so many people on the call and I'm just excited. Thank you, Toby, for that wonderful introduction and the good icebreaker that you just did. Thank you so much. So today we are here for a very special reason, and shortly I'll be introducing our first instructor, or should I say first speaker, that will be leading us through the first session that I'll be having. Please, if you have a pen and a note by your side, or if you don't have a pen and a note, please just go and grab a pen and a note. All right, my name is Marlene, and I'm the programs manager for Growth Product Management Program at Product Dive. So we are gathered here because of this masterclass. And just to give you a brief intro on what this Growth Product Management Program is about, if you are looking to create like a lasting impact in product management or in your choosing career, and this Growth Product Management is for you. So The beauty about growth product management is that it cuts across all fields and everybody needs growth. So if you're already a product manager, an entrepreneur, a marketer, but you need to scale your product and services to international market and you want to grow beyond your current user base, the growth product management program is for you. So today we are going to be doing a 2-hour stretch masterclass to give you an insight on the good things that you would get to learn if you enroll in our growth product management program that's going to start March 8th. So please sit tight because we are going to have the best time in this 2-hour session. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to be introducing our first speaker for today. So um, Olatosimi Fadaunsi is one of our esteemed instructors at Product Dive. He has an extensive experience in various analytical tools. I mean, he was part of the instructors for the last cohort we had in Growth Product Management Program, cohort 2. So he took the students on different tools, and we also had like a hands-on session where it was really detailed. So whatever it is that you're going to be learning today from Olatosimi, trust that it's coming from the best. All right. So Olatosimi is a growth marketing manager specializing in user growth strategy, marketing analytics, and digital automation. As a digital executive at Dentsu, he led implementation for products like QuickTeller, GT Fonts, GT Fonts Manager, and Vault. So his strength lies in adapting to emerging technologies and leveraging diverse digital tools. So without wasting much time and with a, should I say, virtual clapping ovation, please let's make welcome Olatosimi, our first instructor for today. He's going to be walking us through Mix Panel. Can you imagine? He's going to take us on Mix Panel today. So we're going to give you like an insight on Mix Panel. Please, let me just tell you this thing. Mix Panel is interesting. So as Olatosimi is giving you like this insight on Mix Panel, please just be saving the dates for the next Growth Squad program that is coming up in March 8th. Because anything you learn here, just know that there's going to be like a full-blown session during the court. All right, I think Olatosimi is here. Hi, Olatosimi. You're welcome.
Hi, Marlene. Hi,
Hi.
everybody. Yeah, thank you for the intro. That sounds like a Mommy Gio intro, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That was great. Hi, everyone. It's really, really nice to be here and to actually share a couple of things with the people here. Just as Malik introduced me, anything tools like I really like it. Basically, and I must actually tell everybody here because there is like a growing concern in like, oh, this tool, that tool, this tool, that tool. Like, you know what? Don't get yourself for it too much. I'll give you an example. So if you are using a tool like HubSpot, for an example, and someone is saying, can you use MailChimp? I think the first thing that should come out from your mouth is yes, you can, because they might be different in terms of like one or two things here and there. But once you can use HubSpot, you can use MailChimp, you can use Zoho CRM, you can use any other thing. So it is just interface, basically. The other part is once you can use, let's say, Mixpanel, or let's even say Google Analytics, for an example, you can use Mixpanel. It is just like, you'll find one or two things that are actually different, but yeah. And that's why, like I said in my bio, like I love emerging tools. I just like to get my hands dirty on things. Like, okay, so yeah, good. In the first, let me, before we go into like the whole session, I was not meant to be like the first person to take a lead because I don't think like practical something should even lead, or for one or two reasons I had to in the last cohort we had, I was telling like the students like why tools. I think Toby also was mentioning like, um, that part of, being a technical product manager. Um, these days, like, they are, and I asked the students, have you had like any sort of, reservation, the way people in the organization, the way they perceive you as a product manager? And I would actually like if, people can actually, drop in the comments box, like how do people perceive, product manager, in the comment section. And some people were saying like, um, sorry, Ugo, you can, sorry, you can, or is it that Ugo, you are raising up your hand? You can't hear me, or is there like a problem?
No, no, I made a mistake. I meant to
Okay,
type
okay, okay,
that.
yeah. So, someone was saying like they view, product manager as like a content writer, they just, some people feel like, oh, yeah, social media managers who just, happen to find their ways into like products, and it's just like a type. So some people feel like, oh, these are like failed software developers. They can't become like a software, and they went, or they are just looking for something easy. And I must tell you, yeah, yeah, that those are the things I must tell you. Like, the honest truth is, especially if you want to break in, if you want to break in. So they would say hard skills, the hard skills, they get you in, like the ability to be able to, you need to be hardcore. Then, those soft skills are the things that would actually keep you in the game, like for long, like your ability to communicate, your ability to present, your ability to, your ability to manage people. You get, but when you are coming in, when you want to break in, and I'm saying this for like people who want to break in, before I get into like people who are like mid-level sort of, if you want to break in, like what I will be looking out for is like, oh, um, in my interview, he's like, oh, there is like, oh, our sign up process is flawed. We are witnessing like high drop off. How can we address the issue? Then, you as like a, if I'm interviewing you as a product manager, or an entry level, uh an entry yeah an entry level product manager is like, oh yeah, we can bring in mixed panel. The software developers just need to inject mixed panel into the product. Then we build like different, events like that leads to, the sign up process. And we can see, at that point of sign up process where people are dropping off. Those are the things I would like to see. Or let's say like, the aha moments is like, oh, make the purchase. At what point are people dropping off? So those are the things that, people expect, or like, of like, an entry level. So I just don't want to see like, oh, as an entry level, oh, you need to communicate, you need to, no, it doesn't work. Hard skills are things that would get you in. As a mid-level person, there are so many biases. Have worked with, product managers as like a growth marketing manager myself. Someone mentioned like the software developers would say like they had like way, unnecessary like, you know, processes. And the last cohort, one of the things I told, even the guys are like, you can actually, even as a product manager, there are things that you can implement yourself. There are events you can implement yourself. If you're hands-on with like Google, Tag Manager, you're hands-on with Google Analytics, an example, you don't need to be running to your software developer about certain events. You can do all these things yourself. You can, like, there are some things that you can, like, if there's no thank you page. When I got into my company, we don't have like a thank you page. We don't have anything specific to actually capture events. When I got into, I told them, I read online, like, okay, software developer, help me add like this variable, class ID, class form, help me add it to this event, this particular event. And I started firing all those events in Google Tag Manager. And I remember like my CTO would still sit with me, like, how did you implement this? How did you implement this? How did you go about this? How are you able to use Google Tag Manager to do this? How are you able to use, like, because they couldn't do it. So I had to do it first before they started their own implementation. And these are like, the beauty of you being like hands-on. So all those processes at times when I even say it, I'm not a software developer. I just feel like, oh, as a product manager, one, if you understand those basics yourself, you understand what you are doing. One, it is either you implement some of these things yourself, number one, or you have like a better understanding of how you can communicate, those things to them. I will tell you, I've worked with software engineers. Software engineers, they don't like Wala. At times when you meet all these people and you tell them like, I say, but when you give me tasks, you cannot even articulate all these things like this. So most of the times, I always find a way to like, I don't want to go to these people. Let me find a way to implement these things myself before I run to them. So as a product manager, what I'm going to, and these are the things that you get from like, the proper class. You don't need every now and then you don't need to run to them. You don't need to be running to them. If you can be technical on your own, you can. I'm not saying you should build products. You can't build product, but there's a way you can, look at events, and these are one or two things that we are going to be going into. So yeah, before we get into Mixpanel proper, I just want to see like 10 people or 15 people. So like, oh, I'm excited to be here. So before I want to know whether like I'm not speaking to the. It seems people are really excited to be here. So yeah, I will need to share my screen right now. Uh, sorry, someone is saying something. Okay, yeah, sorry, I need to share my screen. Sorry, let me open the floor to like one or two people. Like people are excited. I just want like feedback sort of, yeah, because I want like a bit of interaction. It's like, has anybody used Mixpanel? Yeah, like before you talk, just raise up your hand and I can just, if anybody has used Mixpanel here before. As a prep, okay, yeah, please, Chibuzo, you can talk. Um, as anyone, Chibuzo,
Yeah. Hello.
yeah, how you doing, Chibuzo?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Have you used Mixpanel before?
Yeah, yes, I've used it, but that was quite a while back. But yes, I have used it.
What did you use Mixpanel for when you used it?
Well, I was okay while I was working. I think we had the events, like you said, startup I worked in. Then we had events for sign up. We tried to use it to do like a funnel analysis of the sign up process and know what causes
Yeah, yeah,
users to fall out. Yes,
yeah,
so that's what we're using it for most times for the onboarding KYC part.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, who is another person who is out there? Is then I think Sanusi also. Okay, yeah, Sanusi is not
Hello.
talking. Okay, Sanusi, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this was a long time. I took a Udemy course on low code, no code, and that was where I got to know and use Mixpanel.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. One last thing before I move into like because I think it is really imperative for if you've not signed up for like the this next class or the class upcoming, I think it is going to be helpful for you to sign up for it, whether you're mid-level or you actually want to have like some sort of career switch. One of the things I also mentioned to people, the guys in the last course was as a product manager, you need to also be careful about the idea of tools, because I know one of those things that happen is like you need to have like a wide range. They gave me like some tools that I should talk about, for an example. And one of those things I suggested to like the guys in the course was like, oh, this is paid for. This is the alternative you can use that is free. And those are the things, if you're a product manager, that your boss or your CEO is going to use for your, what do they call it? I think when I was in enterprise, what do they call your appraiser. an example. So this is what I'm saying in essence. So HubSpot is extremely expensive. So you as a product manager, if what you met in your company is like, oh, HubSpot where you guys are paying like 3,000, 5,000 USD monthly on a subscription, and you are coming with like a cheaper alternative or an alternative which is free, and you are saving the company, let's say, in a year, let's say, 100,000 USD. These are the things that you can even put in your CV. You can put in your resume, like I saved the company because I was able to opt for, this tool. So in that class, I told, is it HubSpot specifically that was talking? No, Hotjar. Hotjar is paid for. And I took the people through like, how to use Hotjar. But I also came up with like Microsoft Clarity, which is free, which I took them through like anything you are getting. Yeah, probably in the future, you have to pay for Microsoft Clarity, but now it is free. And I told them, you know what? Instead of you telling your boss, like, and that's one of those things I did when I joined my, company. Like, instead of like us paying for, Hotjar, why not, HubSpot? I've never used Microsoft Clarity at that point, but I said I love to, test new tools. Like, why not, us opt for like Microsoft Clarity? And let me tell you, one of the things I did with Microsoft, and I know at one point I wrote to them because we couldn't see some certain event. And I kept writing to them, this event, we have it in Hotjar. I don't know whether it is because of me that they added the thing to them, but at least they got my feedback and they responded to me like, okay. And down the line, they added some of those things to them. So it is essential for you to join the class. If you join the class, there will be like, tools that they would say, like, I need to, go over. But I'm going to opt for like, oh, this tool, you can get it. If for some events, Mixpanel, you have like free events and, but if you get to like certain level, you have to pay for Mixpanel. Let's assume like, oh, Mixpanel is, you have to pay 1,000, USD. There's Google Analytics. Yeah. There are some features. You have funnel reports in Google Analytics that, I can also take you through and say, this is how you can use Google Analytics to achieve what, you want to achieve with, Mixpanel. But, Mixpanel is better for, for product owners. So yeah, let's dive into, Mixpanel and see how it works. Yeah, so basically, those things that you are really, really particular about in Mixpanel. The implementation is just like understand the implementation. As a product manager, I think you can implement Mixpanel with yourself using Google Tag Manager. But for certain things, I would advise you go through your software engineer for the implementation of Mixpanel, just for the purpose of this class, because I don't want to complicate things too much in terms of implementation with Google Tag Manager. So meet your software engineer in terms of like implementing Mixpanel. They would send like events into like the Mixpanel for you. Then you can now go there to actually create the event. So there are two things here, 4 things here. You would see boards, you'll see reports, you'll see user, and you'll see events. Those are like, the 4 things you'll see. And these are the things that you would actually be dealing with when you come into like Mixpanel. So board, basically, there are some like inbuilt boards that you get in Mixpanel. That you see, these boards are actually based on when you are done with the implementation. Basically, there's a way with their AI, they generate some what's it called, some some boards for you based on your products. So you have some they call like marketing KPIs, sample templates, which is a template. You have like life cycle cohorts. Let me go into this one, an example. This one is so you see active users in the last 30 days, active users, new users. Out of the active users, how many of them are new users? You see purchase completed. This is an e-commerce. This is a demo, Mixpanel. You see purchase completed. You see total events. This is unique user. This is, total events. Again, for people who don't understand, like, unique, what unique is just saying is like two people are making 4 purchases. So that is an average of, 2 purchases per one person. That is what this one is. It is unique. The number of people, how many times they, performed like, a particular event is what is here. Then you have like understanding your users. How are they, So you see like Android, iOS, what they are using. This is what like board is about. So you have some that like are inbuilt, the mixed panel, artificial intelligence system will look into your product and they will, develop like different boards for you. Then you have the life cycle, this is another template in itself. They're what action are they performing? You like the value moments, dormant users. So it is this the whole idea of life cycle is like, oh, one person comes in this time around, how many days is it taking them for them to be sticky, blah blah blah. So these are the things that you'll see on that board. I'm not good because we don't have the time to go into tool, but I want to take you through like the important things in in Mixpanel. So this is the board. Outside of the board, you have your reports. This is the one I would say like you actually need to get yourself familiar with. This is where you'll be working. This is where like if you're a product manager, this is your day-to-day. The insights, your funnel report. I think someone mentioned like funnel, your flow. I would go into all those ones. Then your retention. These are like the 4 things you have to be dealing with. Users, this will just be like, oh, what your users, what they look like. You see like user, what their email is. Their distinct ID, updated country code, which country, region, like just to get like a sense. Then you can now decide to, export this data, and based on any level of insight that you want to like, oh, how many users are coming from United States, how many users are coming from whatever. But this don't matter because you'll still be able to see all those things in your report based on how you want to just customize things. Then you have events. Again, all these things, both the users, both the events, are things that you will be able to see. So you see like events, you have events name, you have like time, 2 years ago. Again, this is a demo account in Mixpanel that I'm using. So this is not like a real account. I can't use my, company's account. So, we can't, like, this is a demo account, so to say. This is the best you can get. Then you start saying like city, this particular event, where is it coming from? So you can export this one out as well and be saying like this particular event will check out to how many country, you can say by operating system. And you can add like extra events. You can say, oh, is it one particular event instead of all events. You can say checkout started. So it won't, come with like all the other events. It will just be like this particular, and you can add like another events, to hit. So inside of this, you can also create an event here. So those are like the 4 things in Mixpanel that you have to deal with. The board, under the board, the board report, which is like board is just see board as, what do they call it? For people who use Power BI, like it is just like data visualization where like you have all those things and you can visualize things easily. But the important thing here is like the insights, your funnel reports, your flow, and your retention, reports. Those are like the 4 major things that are important for you in Mixpanel. Then let's go to insights. What is insight basically? Just take it as like when you come to insights, it will tell you like, oh, select your metric. So let's say sign up completed. So you would see like if you select sign up completed, for an example, this is an e-commerce platform. You can see like over like a period of time where you can see May 2, how many people completed a sign up, May 3, how many people, May 4, how many people, May 5, May 7, this is, and so on and so forth, over 30 days. You can come here and decide like, okay, I don't want to see it in dates, it's just too complicated, and say like week. And you can be saying like May 1, which is 1 week, May 8, another week, May 5. These are, the numbers of people. And you can say, okay, this month, how many people completed like in May. Then you can come to custom and say, or you can, select, the particular dates you want to work with under custom. You can click last 7 days. You can click last 30 days. You can click, 3 months. Then you can also compare and say time period. Sorry. So if you say previous months, so you can see what's like, the past over like, April, how many signups did you achieve? In May, how many signups did you achieve? So, but these are not like the things that are really, really particular to like a product manager, because, nobody, you don't like, these are things that like for marketers, like how many signups, how many, but it is not that you are not particular about it, but it is like really, really for marketers. Then you can come, you use the filter, you can say, okay, I want to like, and this is where like it gets interesting for you as a product manager. Like, oh, which browser are they using? Which browser version are they using? Which operating system are they using? So you can now say, okay, this is filter. You want to just see under this operating system, you just want to see how many iOS. You can say hard. And these numbers you are seeing here, it is just for iOS user. There are so many, understand like filter and breakdown. Let me explain filter and breakdown. Filter for you is just like when you click on filter, it's filter is going to give you like different options, classes of food. You will now see eba, rice, how many people had eba, how many people you see eba, rice, and so on and so forth. So you can now say, okay, I just want to see just for eba only. Then it is going to give you the data of how many people had eba under classes of food. But when you use breakdown is just going to give you everything. Oh, classes of food, eba, 20,000, rice, 10,000 people had rice, beans, 15,000 people had beans over like this period of time. That is what filter and breakdown is. Like anywhere you are using it, not just Mixpanel, but for any analytics tool, you are using filter and breakdown. So before I continue, because like it is going to get more interesting, I just want to like ensure like people are following, like just like under the comment box, let me see it is making sense, or it is complicated. Either way is for you. Let me just say it is making sense or it is getting complicated. Like I just want to see like 10 messages under like the comment box before we move forward. Like making sense, getting complicated. Yeah. Okay. If it is making sense, I think here you should find a way to actually join the class. It is going to make more sense because you're going to. Okay. What did you say about filter again? Making sense. Yeah. Cool. For someone who is asking me, what am I saying about filter? Please, can you respond to Google's last question? What is Google's last question? I can't see information up here.
Hi.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, got you. I can't, by information here appears aggregated. What does, you can see what you are saying here is unique users. Probably you were talking about another thing when I was talking about the events and users. So, but yeah, we'll get back to that. I need to move as well. I need to move fast. So you see, so for person who is, or the person who is asking about like filter and breakdown. Filter is when you have classes of food, an example, and you have eba, you have rice, you have beans, you have semo. So how many people had you under filter? You can now say, okay, I just want to see like the insight just for eba only. Then you omit the others, the rice, the beans, you omit them. But under breakdown, you won't be able to see for the others. You are just only saying for eba, and this is what happens here. This is what is happening here. So if I say, if I come under, let's say browser version. Okay, no, don't let me use browser version. Let me use uh, operating system. So under operating system, you can see like you have Android, you have iOS, you have Linux, you have OS. I just want to see. You can see the average here um, is 6,441. Let me just click iOS alone. See, the number has reduced. Let me click out on comparison. The number has actually reduced um, to just 2,426 because I'm only seeing data for iOS alone. So that is what filter is about. So if I now come under breakdown and I want to see like the same thing, operating system. So you can see it is going to pull out, the data for everything. How many people are using Android to sign up? 3,071. How many people are using iOS? 2,426. How many people are using Windows? 1,485. How many people are using OS X? 1,412. So you will be able to see everything. But under filter, you can say, okay, I just want to see for iOS. I just want to see for Android. But under breakdown, it is going to break down everything for you. Yeah, I'm not like you see other events here as well. Like if you want to see more than like, oh, let's say purchase completed as well, you see it under mix panel as well, where like, oh, how many people purchased, blah blah blah. So you'll be able to. But this is just like the surface. We are not going like into to for you. That's for like insights. Insight is just as straightforward as it sounds like. What is insight? Just select your metric, whatever metric you want to select that is particular to your product. You can select the metric. Then yeah, this is where like as a product manager, this is where it gets interesting for you. This is what you need to like be doing. Like you build, like probably you just launched a new feature. You want to see like how are people using the new feature, or apparently um, your sign up flow, you change something in your sign up flow. Probably you are expecting, let's say, the sign up flow, the conversion rate is 30% or 50% or 70%. Then you now said, oh, we need to get this thing better. And you now introduced a new thing and you want to see what is happening. Probably the initial state was like 50% conversion rate. It is now like you guys are now saying like 30% conversion rate. You now say, okay, what is happening? You need to go into your funnel. See, like in those things that you change, where are people having, major problem? So you come into funnel. So under funnel, inside of insights, what it told us to like when you are in insight, it will tell you to select a metric. Here, what you are going to do is you are selecting steps, because for every journey, like you need, this one is just capturing like the user's journey, like the step. So the first thing here is you need to even understand the steps users take, so that you need to understand like, oh, what does the journey to purchase, what does it look like? Oh, user will sign up, um user will sign up, user will, even in the sign up process, you need to understand like, oh, phone number, email, input phone number. You need to be detailed. You need to understand the steps so that you'll be able to see like, oh, people are not willing to give their phone number, but they are willing to give their email. You're not, okay, you know what, boss, or you know what, our team, we need to remove like this phone number of a thing from like this sign up process because they are not willing to put in their phone number. So what we now need to do, what we need to implement is probably when they get to their aha moments, when they get to like whether they, because I'm in like the gaming sector, probably when a user has now won his or her price, you now tell them because they want to get the money out from the system. So at the point of withdrawal, you are now telling them, oh, before you can withdraw your money, add that phone number that we plan to collect at the initial stage of sign up. But they didn't want to give that phone number. We will now take it to like that hard moment when they want to take out their money. So you need to understand like the steps of your products. So you select the step, let's say before sign up completed, you can't get sign up completed without even starting sign up, and that is what's one thing, this thing. So you click on sign up, an example. So note here, you must select at least two steps, two funnel steps. So you select another step and you said sign up completed. This in its sense doesn't because what does the journey, and when we get to flow, I will tell you something. What does the journey to here? This is just what we are saying. What we are saying here is like 504 people started the journey to like sign up. Only 390 completed like the journey. This, because this is a demo something, and it is, I can't use my, we can't use, I would have loved to show you like more. But in this process, from year to year, there would have been some steps. There would have been some things happening. So, but we can't see it. But this doesn't, matter right now. Let's now say, let's add another step. Let's say, before you can purchase, you need to view carts. So let's say cart viewed 131. Let's now say cart viewed, checkout started 101. So let's now say purchase completed. So because I know like part of my interview like somewhere had to deal with this. So I just want to, so for two people, because I want like a feedback sort of, if you as a product manager, you are given this kind of dashboard and they ask you, what part of this funnel do we need to optimize and what do we need to fix here to increase like purchase completed? As a product manager, what are you going to do to fix this leakage? Because there's a situation of like 504 people started a journey, and our goal is to ensure, purchase completed. But yeah, there's a leakage in the first stage, there's another leakage in cart viewed, then there's another leakage in checkout. And there's now like a further leakage from checkout started to purchase completed. As a product manager, where in this funnel do we need to fix? So let me just get one or two. Am I right on? Okay, I'm still right on time. Yeah, let me just get like two people. Yeah, Ugo. Yeah, have the floor.
From the steps you selected, it looks like the largest drop happened between the second and the third step.
Yeah,
If the sign up completed and card viewed are not really, they're not really subsequent steps. It sounds like there's a
yeah,
lot in between
yeah,
them.
yeah,
What you've presented, I would say we need to optimize from 2 to 3.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mentioned as well, like because this is just like a demo data sort of. We're like, so if you're now like, if as Ugo mentioned, no, before I even move on, I want someone else to also, respond. Is there anybody there who wants to respond as well? Okay. Okay, Kinsley, yeah, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think looking at this step, where we need to fix is around around step 2 and step 3. And then if I'm the product manager for this product, what I want to do, I want to understand why people who started the sign up are not completing it. And for those who completed it, I want to know why. For those who completed, I want to know why they didn't view their cards. So I want to know where the drop off is coming from. I want to know where the drop is coming from. I want to understand the friction that is making them not to complete their sign up, and those who completed why they are not filling their card, because that is where we have like the large chunk number of users who chunk numbers of users who did not complete a certain stage. So from there, I'll be able to, by understanding that, I'll be able to, that will help me to come up with a solution, collaborating with the team to understand what to do to take out if there's a friction, or like you said, if there's information they're willing not to drop at that particular time, and if it is important to know where we're going to fix it, so they'll provide that information.
Okay, yeah, cool. I know a couple of people are raising up their hands, but I want one lady or the person who is going to talk next. I want the person to be like, lady. I think, the men have been the one, or the guys have been the one talking. I want one lady to also like chip in things. So yeah, yeah, the count of 10. 1,
Really,
2.
that.
Okay,
Hi, Hilda.
yeah, yeah,
Hi, good evening.
yeah. Good evening.
So, um, first of all, looking at what we have, we know that people signing up
Yeah,
means that they are interested in it. So maybe we have something that is catching their interest. They sign up and then they complete the sign up, and then viewing the cards, maybe there's a glitch between completing the sign up and the view cards process. So maybe it's not easy. The UI is not easy, or whatever. What I'm going to find out and try to bridge the gap between. I think that's my input. Thank you.
okay. Yeah. So one thing which I think Ugo clearly mentioned is, in its sense, and you are going for interview, and someone is showing you this kind of a dashboard, and I think Ugo mentioned it, is these steps in its sense doesn't make sense. Yeah, these steps in its sense doesn't make sense. So we are going to come back here. So if someone, let's say like the goal is like the purchase completed. So if someone is giving me this kind of dashboard, I would say like, oh yeah, I would answer this, but what I'm going to tell the person is like, okay, let me even see what the flow to purchase completed. Let me see what it looks like first, because it is nearly impossible for people to move along this journey to get to purchase completed. So we'll get back to here, but what I would do in this case is I will come to flow. and it will tell me like select one step. I'll click purchase completed. So when people are done, purchasing, once they are done purchasing, what do they do after? This is like steps they perform after. So, but we are not after like, steps they they perform after. We will now go to like steps they perform before. I want to know if this thing, what I'm saying now, if it is making any sense to anybody. But before then, you can ask, okay, what are like the 3 steps people perform before they get to purchase? You can now click these 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, then click on this one. After, you can take it to 0. So this is purchase completed. So this is what like process looks like. They view the products, checkout starts, checkout started, checkout started, checkout started. That means like there is like this is what their journey, this is what it looks like. So when you look at this, product view, they view a product, they had a product, then checkout starts, then product added, then you have purchase completed. So if you are now going to, add like a funnel, what you need to do is like, product view, um, product added, checkout started, and purchase completed. So that is when you now be able to get like a true sense of where like a problem is. But you can now still analyze like, oh, sign up, completed, sign up. It is fine for you to analyze all those things, but you need to be able to understand like, oh, what are like the true steps that people perform before even getting to like the purchase completed. So we'll go back to the funnel. So then let's even, do like a funnel, product view, product viewed, product added, product added, yeah, checkouts started, out, okay, checkout started, and then purchase complete. Then this actually gives like a sense. If you check like the other conversion rates that was there, I think the conversion rate was actually 10% because it doesn't actually make any sense for people to move from like this funnel to this funnel to this funnel. When you now look at this one, you see like, oh, the major problem here is not like, and which is normal. People view product a lot. So, how many times they view products. It doesn't mean like they are going to, but you now see like when they had a product, and so if you are to fix, like you need to fix the problem between product added and checkout started. You need to fix that. And that's what like the funnel means. So you can compute like as many, I'll go, let's even say you want to see, let's talk about sign up. Sign up, sign up, start head, sign up completed. No, sorry. Sign up completed. So this is 77.38% conversion rate. So we are still having drop off. But we don't know because like, we don't, let's even assume like we don't even have this data. Like, okay, what is happening? Why are others like, what is happening between like sign up? So you can go back to flow when you don't have the information. You can go back to flow and say, to tell you to select a step, sign up completed. select sign up completed. Then it is going to tell you like, so this one too is also good. Like, oh, what other like 3 steps do people, perform like when they are, done signing up, like build products, they start checkouts and, they view other events, blah, blah, blah. So those are like the 3. So you can now say, okay, you are not interested in like the steps after. You are only interested in uh, the steps before sign up completed. Let's say 3 steps before. So you see sign up completed. So what this is telling us, if I'm saying something like this, like, oh, I'm saying checkouts, I'm saying checkouts, I'm saying product build, and I'm saying sign up completed. What this is telling me is this is a product led, company. So I can interact, I can interface with the products before I even complete a sign up. I can view like, oh, this is Jumia, for an example, this is Jumia. So I don't need to sign up first before I can even view a product. I want to buy a Nike shoe, I want to buy Adidas shoe. I can view it, I can start the process to actually, purchase my Adidas shoe. So it is at the point of me making a purchase, before I make a particular purchase, that is when it is now going to pop up that like, oh, man, yeah, you need to sign up. So you need to look at the journey to like the sign up completed. Let's say sign up, let's say sign up. What is the journey sign up started before? Well, so it is going to, okay, what is, the journey after people when they are done signing up. You now see sign up completed, it is expected. You now see login completed, then you now see checkout started, which starts making sense. And that's the beauty of flow. I'm lumping like retention I'm lumping funnel and flow together. This is not so you come back to funnel, you can do anything, whatsoever. Let's even say sign up started, um, then sign up completed. So you can make it fun if you want to see like, is there like any operating system where like, that has like higher, conversion rate, because what you want to see is like a sign up completed. So you can now say, where's the operating system? You can now, which operating system is even having like higher conversion rates from here. So you can see it. You can see for for Android it is 78.22%. For iOS it is 73.08%. For Windows it is 85.48%. For OS X it is 80 point something percent. For Linux it is 71.43%. So there's no big deal, like there's no major big deal, like here. But let's even assume like you are now saying, let's say it is your product, you are now saying a situation where like um iOS is 40% or 30%, then you need to raise an alarm. That means your app or your browser, sorry, that means your product is not well optimized for iOS. Then you need to now call the attention. As a product manager, you need to call the attention of your team, whether your boss, whether your software developer, like it seems there's a problem with our iOS app and we need to optimize it better. You can say, you know, what other breakdown? Yeah, I mean, so we have many breakdown here. You can see city. You can which city, which device, which referral, which region. The screen height, the search engine, the page name, the country, what search keyword, UTM campaign. This is for like this. If you're a marketer, you want to understand like, oh, which campaign am I running? What is the source of my campaign? What is the medium of my campaign? Is it organic? Is it PPC? Is it influencer marketing? You know, So even as a product manager, you need to also understand this. You are not the one running the campaign. Say, for an example, what they will be giving you is like your own target might be, oh, you need to ensure, high, success rate in terms of like, your landing page or whatever it is. Then you have like a marketer who is using like whether like, one sort of referrer that is driving like a lot of traffic to the page. And, you guys are paying for the traffic and you are saying like, for this traffic, for this, it seems there's a problem here. Like, so you can come here and say, oh, what is this? Sorry, who's calling me? Oh, okay. Yeah, so those are the things. So I don't want to like go much into like details of all these things. So you can see like Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, referral. You can see all these things there. This is 11:10. I think I'm going way over. Then sorry, the last thing I'm going to, because I need to drop off as well, is like retention. Um, so retention will also tell you like you need to select 2 events. So let's see, you can say purchase completed. Then let's say purchase completed again. So the idea over like a period of time, let's say 30 days, you will see the retention curve. So how many people, that completed like a purchase came back to, purchase like the next day, the following 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 day. So let's say 100%, completed a purchase today. How many of them are coming back in day 1? How many of them are coming back in day 2? How many of them are coming back in day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9? This is what it looks like. Then you can apply your filter, apply your breakdown. So the 3 important things for you as a product manager here, we are still going to go into in like, the normal course, but this is just an overview. Is like your funnel, your flow, and your retention. So yeah, thank you. Marlene, probably you want to chip in 1 or 2 things. I need to as well drop before we move.
Hi, Tosimi.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you almost done with this session?
Yeah, I think that's this is not like this is just like an overview, and I've mentioned it. Your funnel, your flow, and your retention are like the 3 most important things to you. Like retention is also like an interesting thing. So yeah, I'm done. And yeah, if there are questions, like 1 or 2 questions I need to answer, then yeah, if not, I need to move.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Olatusimi. That was an amazing session. Remember when I started, I said this is just like the beginning. This is an intro. So if you want to get like the full package, we have a program, Growth Product Management Program, that's happening March 8th. So it's a full curriculum, 7 weeks, full curriculum. We have 2 hands-on experience with Mixpanel, Hotjar, and also Google Analytics. So we'll just be taking at least 2 questions from everyone, just 2 questions before we move on to the next session. All right. So I think I'm seeing someone's hand. Perpetua, do you want to ask a question, or your hands have been raised up before now? Okay, she has dropped it. So do we have any question? Or maybe you want to save it for later? Or you want to... Okay, it's on it's on hold. And all right. Okay, I think someone has their hands raised.
Yeah, hi, it's me. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please, you can.
Okay, yeah, good evening, everyone. Well done, Tosimi. I think that was a very insightful one. Thank you very much. So, but I would like to ask, what do you describe as a flow? I I mean, because after your session just now, I think you just put a summary of more like a three major things you have described or really, took us through right now. You said the flow, the retention, and I think the first one, I've forgotten the name of the first one you mentioned. But the flow, I really want to understand what you describe as the flow. Is it that part where you try to do the funnel and you get the analysis of like every step of the way, step one, step two, step three? Is that what you describe as the flow? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So C-flow has uh um I'm looking for like if you want to make Heba for an example, there might be different ways. You need to put your water inside of fire. You need to put your water on fire. You need to have your garage. You need to have. So let's say someone presented you with an Heba, and you have like a particular way of making your Heba that won't make you purge. So what flow helps you, and the person did not explain to you, you don't have that insight. What you can do with like the mixed panel flow is to say you click on Heba, which is the end result. You click on Heba, then you can now say, oh, after making this Heba, before this person made this Heba, what did this person do? Then flow is now going to say, oh, if it is 3 steps, you want to see the 3 steps before the person made the Heba. The flow is now going to show you like, oh, this person puts the water on fire. This person, did this. This person did that. Then you can now go back into your funnel, then plot that flow that you saw. You can now plot it as a funnel, then identify like, oh, this is where like there's a problem in this particular funnel. That is what you can do with flow. That is like a simple explanation of flow. Again, this is not exhaustive. Like there's a special class for this that you can join where you can learn more about this thing. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, I think Tolu, there's a Slack channel. Probably you can drop your. I think there's another speaker that needs to go on right now. Yeah, and I need to drop as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Marlene, over to you.
All right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really an insightful session. So everyone, I'm going to be dropping a feedback form in the comment section. So please take time to fill the feedback. If you fill the feedback, we'll be able to send you the recorded session so you can go back to listen to the session that we already had. Okay, so in a short while, I'll be introducing the next speaker. I'm excited about this particular one. But before that, thank you so much, Olatusimi. You really did a good job. In just these few minutes or hours, I know it's not even up to probably an hour, you were able to cover like a good overview of what mixed panel is. Thank you so much. We're really grateful. All right, so I'm just going to talk briefly about the Great Product Management Program. So as we all know, the reason why we are here is to give us an insight on what the Great Product Management Program is. And yeah, so part of what we are doing, you definitely, when you get into the program, you're going to learn mixed panel at a very expansive in a very expansive way. So you might be asking, this Great Product Management Program, who is it for? Am I sure if I'm going to benefit from the course? Yes, of course you are. So if you're a practicing product manager, you're a senior leader or a corporate executive, you are a founder, an entrepreneur, innovation manager, technology manager, or a marketing manager, just like Olatusimi, this Great Product Management Program is for you. So the Great Product Management Program, when you enroll, you would learn a lot of things. We have like, it's 7 weeks, and in those 7 weeks, you will learn how to position your product or your brand for sustainable success and profitability. Everything now, it's about revenue and revenue. So it's not just about putting your product out there or maybe your services out there. It has to generate revenue. So that's what will help you to, in those 7 weeks, will help you to be able to learn how to position your product or your brand for sustainable success and profitability. Would also teach you proven strategies for scaling products globally, driving user acquisition, and also increasing revenue. The keyword there is revenue. Then you also learn practical tools like Mixpanel is one of the tools that you will learn. Then there's Hotjar, there's Google Analytics, and a whole lot of other tools that you will learn during that 7 weeks. And you know, the beauty about this is that we have dedicated tool sessions. So there's a part where you learn the theoretical aspects, and I'm excited because the next speaker that we are bringing in, she's going to wow you. Okay, so there's a part where you learn the theory. Then you also learn the theory of tools. You will learn about HubSpot, Mixpanel, the theory. Then we have special dedicated session where, as Olatusimi just did, will give you you do like an hands-on demonstration on these tools. So if you are in that class, you are sharing your screen and Olatusimi is saying, okay, click here, do this, do that. That's how it's going to be. We're going to have that for Mixpanel, Hotjar, and also Google Analytics. So it's going to be interesting. So, and in 7 weeks, we are going to teach you on the fundamentals of growth PM, data-driven decision making and retention strategies, pricing strategies and revenue optimization, expansion strategies and market analysis. Here, you are going to meet awesome instructors. You meet Olumide. I mean, last cohort, when Olumide was teaching, it just felt like I should break my laptop, go there and just hug him. I'm like, oh, you're teaching this thing. So this is the reason why even Cowbell Milk, despite the fact that they've always been there, their brand is still very strong. You will know that, okay, for that brand to be strong, it's because of probably the marketing and that they do and all of that. So it's a whole lot. Then you have hands-on tool session with Mixpanel and the rest. Then at the end of the 7 weeks, you would have like a capstone project to help cumulate your experience. So everything that you've learned in the whole of 7 weeks, you would be able to replicate it in a capstone project and capstone project at the end of the 7 weeks. So now here's the interesting part. If you decide to sign up for the Growth Product Management Program, guess what? We are offering free CV optimization for you, and that's one part. And we have this like a talent acquisition service internally where we match people for jobs and all of that. So we help you optimize your CV, and you are going to have special consideration for roles in the growth management space. So if you are looking to transition and say, okay, I've taken the program, what next? Don't worry, your CV is with us. We would help you in that aspect. Then also, we are also offering free Scrum Fundamental certificate as a bonus too. Then you also have like 3 months access to the course content and lifetime access to the instructor's notes. So whatever it is that you've learned or you're going to learn in that 7 weeks, you have access to them. Okay, so that's it. So, and it's strictly online. So whether you are in the US, you're in the UK, whatever, it's strictly online. Okay, so I will be dropping the enrollment details on the comment section, so you can go through the website to see all of that. Yeah, so I'll drop it shortly. So yes. And also, if you want to book like an office hour session to maybe get more understanding, like, okay, let me just speak to someone to see if this growth product management program is for me, I would drop a link in the comment section. I know Toby is coming for me now. Before she comes for me, please let me introduce the other speaker. All right, Toby, I know you're coming for me because I heard your voice just now. Okay. All right. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to okay. I can see a lot of hands raised up. Somebody wants to say something.
Yes, ma'am. You said
Okay.
something about free Scrum certificate.
Yes. It's part of the bonus if you enroll for the growth product management program. So we are offering, alongside the growth product management program, we're offering a free Scrum fundamental certificate and certification, and also free CV optimization and special consideration for jobs internally and all of that. So yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So this next speaker, somebody else raised their hand. Toby, am I allowed? Okay, I just want to say, one person, please, one person. Yeah, Tolua, please, you can go for it.
Yeah. So I just want to ask how much is it? Because I might be
Okay.
dropping off.
Okay, yes. Price. So the price of the program, we have the full payment is 385,000. So if you want to make full payment for the growth product management program, it's 385,000. But you can make three times payment, that's 135,000 three times, or you can do two payments, that's 197,500 twice. And there's also something called tuition financing, where you can spread your payments over 3 to 6 months. Don't worry, I'm going to drop this link on the comments in the comment section, so you can just go over it, or probably visit our website so you can get like a full insight on all of this. So yes, that's it. All right. I'm excited about this next speaker that is coming, because Ekene, she always delivers. That's one thing I know about Ekene. So Ekene, she's the Vice President of Product Innovations at Coronation Registrar Limited. So Ekene is a dedicated product leader with over 8 years of experience, and she thrives on transforming innovative ideas into successful products. And her expertise spans across strategic planning, product lifecycle management, and agile methodologies, enabling her to guide cross-functional teams towards delivering high-impact solutions. At Coronation Registrars, she oversees the full spectrum of product development, from conceptualization to launch. She's deeply involved in defining strategic objectives, setting product roadmaps, and ensuring alignment with company goals. Our approach integrates thorough market research, competitor analysis, and user feedback, allowing her to enhance product features and drive business growth. In addition to her leadership roles, she's passionate about mentoring aspiring product managers. Through coaching and training, she helps them develop essential skills and strategies, enhancing their ability to manage and execute projects effectively. And she's also committed to leveraging innovation and data-driven insights to drive product success and continually improve performance. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ekene Ephraim as she walks us through the theoretical part of this masterclass. Please just sit tight. Trust me, you are going to enjoy this session with Ekene. Please, let's keep the clap coming. I will not release my speaker if you are not clapping. I will not release my speaker.
Well, in this introduction, you put me in a tough spot.
But it's true now.
Okay.
All right, you're welcome,
How is everyone
Ekene.
doing? Thank you. Thank you very much. How is everyone doing? So let's get right to the section. So, but before I start, I would actually like to say that I want this section to be as interactive as possible, right? I actually prefer people interrupting me mid-sentences, and this makes me feel like people are actually listening to me and I'm not talking to myself. So feel free to interrupt me anytime to ask any question. But before I start, I actually want to take maybe two comments from two people here. I want to know how your product management journey is going generally. So the good, bad, ugly, just in summary.
Anybody, any takers? All right. Hi, Bumi V. Yeah, hi. You can speak.
Hi. Oh, thank you. The session has been going well. The first speaker took us through the first session, so it's been going really well. And I think it took it at a really not too slow, at a good pace, which it's easy to digest. And I'm looking forward to yours too. Given the introduction, I'm looking forward to hearing from
That
the lady who
introduction,
always delivers.
Marlene is coming. I can assure you. Is there any other person that wants to tell me how their journey is going so far? So good. Any other person here?
I can chime in. So, I'm working as a senior product manager, as a product lead in an organization. I think I got some feedback recently from our CEO about trying to about like getting better at showing the impact of or demonstrating the impact of the changes that we make to our product. So that's one thing that's attracted me to this session, because as a growth product manager, I know it's a big part of that is being able to show calm down, being able to show the value of things you've done, like with data, with actual evidence. So yeah, the feedback is what brought me here. Cool.
All right. That's good to hear, actually. I can relate to that. So recently, our organization where I work, we are moving all our products, innovations to a more platform like business model. So we are moving from a linear business to a platform business, and it's been a lot. It's actually been a lot of learning points for me as well. So I think I like to believe that when it comes to good product management, there's just you can't even know everything. There's always something new that is happening. So case in point, this class, this masterclass, the major focus for me is and just a general introduction to what growth product management is and how it differs from the core product management role, the Pirate framework, the key growth metrics every PM, every marketer, every entrepreneur should track, analyzing user behavior and identifying bottlenecks in your products, how companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, and Spotify use data to drive their growth, and lessons from failed growth experiment. I think this is actually my favorite part. So let's get started. So basically, growth product management is a practice of developing, testing, and implementing strategies that drive measurable and sustainable growth within a product or a service. So growth PMs focus more on boosting key metrics such as user acquisition, engagement, retention, and monetization. Like I said, if you're a growth PM and you're actually in the growth product management space, there is one thing that you wake up with every day, that you live with, you sleep with, you eat with, and that's metrics and growth. Those are the key things that you would always be talking about. So it's very important to understand what those key metrics are. It's also very important to know as a growth manager what your major focus should be. So the objectives of growth product management has to be user acquisition, has to be activation. You have under user acquisition, you have to be able to attract new users and expand your target base. I mean, your target base is always supposed to be growing. You have to be able to understand the activation aspect of the business. You have to ensure that your new users experience the core product value very quickly. You have to be able to understand how retention works, how to keep your users engaged, how to keep your users loyal over time. You have to understand revenue, how to maximize all your monetization strategies and opportunities and increase your lifetime value. You have to understand referrals, creating avenues for users to share and promote
your product in an organic manner. You have to understand how to drive viral growth and the rest of that. So this is just the core of what product management, growth product management is about. As a growth product manager, you're responsible for driving product growth. You're responsible for prioritizing the experimentation, rapid iteration, data analysis within your product. You are responsible for identifying the effective ways to scale your product. You are responsible for the optimization of the existing functionality for your product to drive growth. So you're always hyper focused on small details, and it's those small details that bring significant change in your product. So most of the time, a lot of questions I get from people is, when do you even know that you need a growth product manager? Like, at what point does a company get a growth product manager? So basically, most companies introduce a growth product manager when they are new businesses. If it's a startup company wants to transition and scale up their business, basically that's when they introduce a growth product manager. Some of them do that after achieving product market fit, or maybe when they've launched their first MVP. Some of them just allow their core product managers to build and focus on optimizing the growth strategies that they already have. So it depends on the strategy of the company, but most of the time, growth product managers are brought in once that product has reached maturity and it's time to maximize what they currently have and check for product market fit. So your role basically as a growth product manager during the growth stage is to be able to drive user acquisition, drive activation, retention, revenue, like I mentioned. You have to be able to identify and execute growth opportunities through different types of analysis, business analysis, data analysis, and a lot of experimentation. And then you have to run a lot of tests. So you're thinking about rapid tests, rapid iteration cycles to optimize all the metrics that you've already identified. You're thinking of collaborating with other stakeholders within the business, like the marketing, the data, engineering teams. The goal here as a growth PM is to scale successfully for your product, to scale the business to a certain level, to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So, like I mentioned, when it comes to growth product management, there are key responsibilities that you also have to keep in mind. You have to think about the data analytics parts. You're always making informed decisions based on the real life data you're gathering. We are always identifying growth opportunities to optimize features, improve user experience. We are always tracking KPIs. You're always conducting funnel analysis, cohort analysis, customer feedback analysis, and the rest. You're doing a lot of iterative testing. Like, for instance, you have to be able to compare two versions of your product to determine which one is performing better. So is there maybe you had a new iteration and then you realize that the old one was actually performing better than the new one? It's your job as a good product manager to be able to measure the two. You also have to be able to reduce risks that is associated to all those significant product changes that happen, so you can be able to see where things become unpredictable. So this aspect is actually very important in businesses, because really you are helping your business scale up at that time. And it's very important because, I mean, with that comes revenue, with that comes retention, with that comes target user growth as well. A lot of people are also confused about the difference between a growth product manager and a traditional product manager. So there are a lot of them. For instance, your focus area as a growth PM should be on your growth metrics and user behavior, but a traditional product manager concentrates more on developing product features or managing product lifecycle. Yeah, which is different. You're leveraging data-driven growth hacking and A/B testing for decision making. But as a traditional PM, you're focused more on long-term product vision and feature set development. For your metrics, you're thinking about user growth, retention, conversion rate, acquisition, liquidity. But for a traditional PM, you're focused more on just hitting the features, user satisfaction, user experience. So this is just basically, in a nutshell, the difference between a growth product manager, and a traditional product manager. So moving on to the pirate framework. So I like to think of the pirate framework as one of my very favorite frameworks in from growth, because as a growth focused product manager, you just cannot have a profitable business if you don't have a profitable or clear growth funnel. I mean, if you cannot figure out ways or strategize how to reach new customers or convert customers or even keep the customers that you currently have in your business, then your business is not even going to grow out from you. Product is going to fail. So the goal of the pirate framework is to help you grow your business and increase your revenue by helping you create an effective growth funnel. Those growth funnel, like that growth funnel you're fixing, will help you attract, will help you convert, will help you retain customers. So basically, a lot of companies actually use this particular pirate format. I mean, most of them are startup companies or software as a service companies, but you don't necessarily have to be a startup company or a software as a service company to be able to use this format. So for that, this format is basically like it's called. Sorry, the pirate format is for, we're talking about acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. That's why it's called this double A triple R framework. So it's actually called. Am I sharing the right screen? Can anybody still see my screen?
No, I think it keeps going on and off here. Okay, yeah, it's back.
Okay, great. Okay, so this double R. Sorry, can anyone still see my screen now?
We can. I can anyway.
Yes, I can.
Oh, all right, great. So this double A triple R framework, sometimes there's an extra A, which refers to awareness, and it normally sits at the top of the funnel, but making it a triple A triple R framework. But the other A refers to awareness, and awareness is a marketing metric. And since we are more focused on the product part of things, we'll stick to the generic double A triple R framework. So for each one of those phases, you're matched with a specific metric. And this framework helps you to identify which part of your customer life cycle are performing well and which part of your conversion funnel that you have to improve on later. So we'll take a look at this framework in detail so you can actually understand what different phases, what each of these phases actually represent. So the first phase that we're going to be talking about is the acquisition. The first phase we're going to be talking about here is the acquisition phase. So under this phase, you are thinking about user acquisition. You are thinking about some of the core questions, or rather core interactions that you would be expecting as a growth product manager. So you have to think about some of the growth KPIs that you have under acquisition to be able to ask the question around how your users find your product. Are they finding your product through ads? Are they finding your product through SEO, social media, and so on? Some of the key metrics that you're measuring during this time is your cost per acquisition, your click-through rates, your traffic sources, and so on.
All right, everyone. I think that internet went off. Let's just give her a few minutes to join back. Well, yeah, so far, I hope that we've had a great time so far. We'll be rounding up soon. I hope it was worth your time. And yeah, you can check our website to go through how to enroll for this program. And if you have not joined, our community, you can join our community. I'm going to be dropping the link. Also, there's a plan for how you can space the payments if you're unable to pay even with the 3 installments that we had mentioned. You can also do that. Please just reach out to me on Slack and I can take you through just spacing the payments for like 6 months. Yeah, and yeah, please, we also like to hear feedback from you. Do else?
I think she's back.
She's back?
Yeah, I think she just joined. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, apologies about that. I think I had a network glitch. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Apologies, I had a network glitch. So I was talking about the acquisition part of this pirate framework. So under the acquisition, the major question you're asking is trying to understand how your users find you. So this particular metrics measures how effectively you attract new users. So you're thinking about things like your traffic sources. Where are your users coming from? Are they coming from organic search? Are they coming from paid advertisements, from referrals, from social media, or they are just visiting your platform directly? You are also thinking about cost per acquisition. I mean, how much are you even spending to be able to acquire a new customer? Remember, everything is about metrics, everything is about measurement, because at the end of the day, everything will be about monetization. So the other KPI you're measuring here is your click-through rate. You have to be able to know the percentage of users who click on your advertisement or maybe your call to action. You are recording your conversion rate, the percentage of visitors who completed a desired action in your platform. Maybe the person successfully onboarded or downloaded something or made a purchase. These are what you're measuring under these acquisition metrics. There are also some people actually measure their bounce rate as well. They want to be able to understand how many people leave immediately without even engaging on anything, on the products or the services they are selling. So an example here is like a low conversion rate despite high traffic might actually indicate that you maybe have a poor landing page design or you have unclear value proposition. So it means that visitors coming to your site to visit or view your services don't exactly understand what you're trying to sell, or maybe they don't have a good experience with the landing page, gets too bulky or too confused, and a lot of people actually drop off at this time. It actually means that your channels for getting new users are actually working well, but they are not staying, they are not using the platform because they are not getting that instant satisfaction and value that they want. So most of the things you have to do in this part to be able to understand your user behavior is to do a lot of experimentation and run a lot of A/B testing. You're also going to be doing that to optimize your ad performance or SEA efforts to actually attract more people. But it's at this time that you start understanding or beginning to understand the characters of the users that you have or the personas that you have. So the next metric here is the activation metric. That's the post user experience and engagement metric. So a lot of people see this as one of the major metrics here because this is where you're getting your users to experience the product aha moment. So this is the point where your users actually start getting proper value for what they want, or just they hit that moment where they actually see value in your platform. So activation measures whether your user find value early in their journey. So here you're measuring things like time to value, how quickly your users experience the product's key benefits. You're measuring your onboarding completion rate, percentage of users who successfully complete that onboarding part. You're measuring your first key action rate, how many users perform a key action, maybe a first purchase, a first post, a first message, a first anything. Then you're also measuring your product qualified leads. This is where users demonstrate strong intent to use the product based on engagement. So an example is that I know a service delivery company that increased their activation rates by improving their first-time user experience and simplifying onboarding. So they made their onboarding so seamless and so easy that it's very, very easy for a first-time user to navigate the platform and be able to see value in that platform very quickly. So a lot of questions to ask here would be, are users completing important onboarding steps? What are they even skipping? How quickly do users get to the product's core value? A good tip here is to make sure that your users get to the core value as fast as possible. And within the first 1 hour, 1 hour is even too much, within the first 10 minutes of visiting your product or using your product. So to optimize your onboarding flow, you have to also ensure that those users find value very quickly in this stage. So the next stage is the retention metrics. This is where you ask yourself question, how many users keep coming back? So you have to be able to understand that at this stage, you have to be keeping your users engaged, and you have to also be able to bring them back over time. So this particular stage is a very major indicator of long-term success. I mean, high retention means that users find ongoing value. Measure your daily active users, your monthly active users, your user engagement over time, things like retention rate, churn rate, customer lifetime value, cohort analysis. You are able to track your user behavior over time based on when they signed up. So this is how you actually analyze your users to know exactly when they find value and if they are even coming back. So a popular retention strategy here is that Facebook, for instance, measures their daily active users and monthly active user ratio to assess their platform stickiness. So they normally aim for like a 50% plus retention for their platform. So this is how they measure their daily active users and monthly active users. So a lot of things that you will be asking yourself at this time is, how many users are returning after their first section? What drives those users away, and how can you help prevent this? A lot of what people doing by this time is to send out a lot of surveys to be able to understand their user behavior and understand user pain points, especially the users that actually drop off after maybe spending a few minutes on the page. A very important action here is to implement push notification, implement a lot of email campaign, personalize user experience to increase retention. Being able to customize your user flow also helps to keep your users in your platform. So the next metric is the revenue metric. So, I mean, this is where everything goes down, the money aspect of it. So revenue metrics, it helps you track the financial success of your growth efforts. So you are basically monetizing your user base. So some of the things that you're measuring here is things like average revenue per user, customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, monthly recurring revenue, and all those net revenue, churn. At this point, you need to be able to predict your revenues from the number of users you have. There needs to be a healthy ratio for your lifetime users. You also have to have a big understanding of how much it costs for you to acquire a new customer, so maybe how much revenue you're generating per user. You have to be able to understand how much revenue you even lost from a customer churn. So let's say you lose one customer, you have to understand what the impact is on your overall average revenue at this point. So for example, organizations like Netflix, for instance, they focus on reducing churn rates while maximizing their customer lifetime value through personalization. So if you notice, if you're using Netflix, for instance, you notice that they tend to track their user behavior and suggest movies based on your own preferences. This is how they reduce this churn rate, by personalizing your experience as a user. So the last metric here is the referral metric. So this is basically go through word of mouth. The definition here is just simply encouraging your satisfied users to refer others. So it tracks how well your product spreads through existing users. I mean, if your product is good, someone has to talk about it. Someone has to get other people to use it. So here you're measuring things like Net Promoter Score, how likely your users are to recommend your product. You're measuring things like viral coefficient, you're measuring things like referral conversion rates. You are trying to understand how often your users share your product in an organic way. So you are either doing a referral system, you're either providing incentives, or you're just trying to monitor how much users actually like your platform enough to be able to recommend it to others. So the most important thing though to keep in mind when talking about growth metrics is to know that tracking the right growth metrics ensures you're making data-driven decisions. It ensures that you're having faster iteration cycle, long-term product success. So if you're continuously optimizing your acquisition rate, your activation, your retention, your revenue, your referral, you have to understand that your businesses will scale effectively and your business will be very sustainable. So before I move on to the next section, does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, so we're going to be talking about analyzing user behavior and identifying bottlenecks in your product. So understanding how users interact with your product is very crucial for optimizing their experience and improving conversion, improving retention, improving revenue, which are the three key things when you're thinking about the growth and the scale of any product or service. So by analyzing your user behavior, you can be able to identify friction points, optimize the user journey, and improve on the overall growth of your product. So in how to analyze your user behavior, tracking user behavior will help you answer questions like, where do users drop off? What actions lead to conversion or churn? Are users even engaging with key product features? How can we improve the experience to be able to retain users? Sometimes to get this insight, you also have to use qualitative and quantitative method. You have to use a lot of analytics tools. Some of my favorite ones are Google Analytics. I know you guys just talked about mixed panel. There's Amplitude. It helps you track user journey, funnels, conversion. You have Hotjar, Crazy Edge, Full Story. They are like heat maps. They have heat maps and section recordings, and it helps you understand how users interact with the UI of your product. You have A/B testing platforms as well, like Google Optimize, that experiment with different variations that will help you improve on your user engagement. You have customer support tools like Zendesk, Typeform that helps you gather a lot of qualitative insights from user feedback. So in this case, some of the key data to track is you have to be able to track section duration. How long do your users stay engaged? You have to be able to track your page flow and drop-off rates. Where are your users living? You have to be able to track feature engagement, which features are most and least used. Click maps, pro behavior, what elements attract attention. You have to be able to track your funnel analysis. Where do your users abandon key processes at this point? So these are the kind of things you should be looking out for when trying to analyze those user behavior. So some of the most common bottlenecks in user journey is like you have onboarding issues like activation bottlenecks. So you tend to think that users sign up but never complete setup. The best solution to this is to improve your onboarding with tooltips, with progress bars, guided walkthroughs. Your users have to be able to understand your platform for them to actually onboard properly on that platform. So complicated UI makes first-time users leave, basically. And the solution to this is to simplify your UX, reduce the cognitive load, provide clear calls to action as well. For low engagement, your users try the product, but they don't always return. The solution to this is to use push notification, use emails, use personalized content to re-engage them, and so on. The next is that essential features normally go unnoticed. The solution here is to highlight those key features with nudges, in-app messages, tooltips. You have to be able to let your users know which features are essential, because that is the core thing that is actually driving user engagement on your platform. The next is to think for conversion and revenue bottlenecks. Users abandon checkout or payment process. The solution here is to reduce the friction with autofill. So I went to I went to a site the other day to make a payment for something, and I was asked to fill a very long form. And there was no provision for an autofill information. So I just abandoned that purchase entirely. So if you build a platform and you know that you're going to have a long payment process, or there's a long checkout process, it will be very good to reduce that friction of people abandoning it halfway by creating autofill, one-click checkout, multiple payment options. Give users the alternatives that they need, because a lot of people will get bored easily and drop off once they notice that the user journey has become a bit more difficult. So another one is that trial users don't upgrade to paid plans. So the solution here is to improve value messaging, offer incentives, reduce trial to paid friction. In the referral bottlenecks, you see that users don't refer despite liking the product. The solution here is make sharing easy, add incentives, add referral codes, viral loops, and so on. If people feel like they have an advantage or they have something to gain by bringing in another person, and once they like that product, it's very certain that they are going to want to bring in more people. So key strategies to address these bottlenecks and improve on user flow. Someone has their hand raised. Ivy. Yeah, you can go on and ask your question. Okay.
Okay, if the person, hello.
Yeah, go on, Joshua.
Yes, thank you. If the person is not speaking yet, could you please attend to the question I sent on the chat? The question I'm asking, do you think friction is important in certain cases for user onboarding process? Because now you are actually dealing with a balance. We want to make the onboarding process as easy as possible, as intuitive as possible, so that users will not have issues navigating it. But then when it becomes too easy in certain cases, you have issues of people just going in and you don't really test their patience, whether they really want that product. So like, having a case where I'm asking you, are there cases where you have to introduce like friction, a little bit of friction, like let me use an example of code, like Duolingo.
But yes. I actually understand what you're saying. And yes, friction can be surprisingly important in some cases when you are dealing with user onboarding. I mean, it may seem counterintuitive, but strategically adding friction can actually improve activation rates in certain circumstances. So some of the key things you have to keep in mind is that your friction can be beneficial in terms of increased user commitment, right? So if you have to require users to invest more effort upfront, so you have to provide a more detailed information, you have to complete a challenging task like Duolingo, like you said, it can increase their commitment to the product or service. So I think this is somewhat based on the psychological principle of justifying the efforts that you're putting in. So this is where people tend to value things more when they put in more efforts in obtaining them. You can add friction in improving your maybe qualification of users. So adding friction here can actually help you filter out users who are not a good fit for your product. So this particular one can actually lead to a higher quality leads, more engaged user base. For example, if you require users, for instance, to answer specific questions or complete a piece or something, it can help you identify those who are genuinely interested and likely to benefit from the services that you're offering. But then you also have to be careful when you are adding friction, because there are good times when you can add friction when you have high churn rate, like when users are signing up but not really actively engaging on your platform, when your products are complex. So maybe your products have a very steep learning curve or multiple features. Adding friction can actually help users to gradually understand the value proposition and avoid feeling overwhelmed from your products. When you have limited resources, for instance, if you have limited customer support or onboarding resources. Adding friction can help prioritize high quality leads and reduce the burden on your own team. So these are times when you can actually add friction. So yes, I understand. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does very well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so just to answer that, some of the important considerations is that you have to always find the right balance. Too much friction can deter users, but too little friction can lead to low engagement. So it's very, very important for you to find the right balance. It's also very important for you to monitor your user behavior. Tracking your user behavior during onboarding can help you identify area where friction might be helpful or hindering the progress of your product. Okay, I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, it does. It does. Thanks.
All right, great. Okay, so moving on. So the next thing we'll be talking about is how companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, Spotify use data to drive growth. So I'm just going to make this very quick because I think our time is almost done. So I'm just going to take only Airbnb. So normally they drive growth through marketplace optimization and personalization. So Airbnb transformed how people book accommodations worldwide, basically by using data to enhance both supply and demand guests. Sorry, give me a moment, please. Okay, so speaking on Airbnb, so Airbnb uses data to drive growth for both their supply side and demand side. So they use data for growth hack. So the first thing they did in their early growth phase is to have an integration with Craigslist. So they scrapped Craigslist rental listings and automatically sent emails to their hosts, inviting them to list on Airbnb. So the result of this is they had a massive early user acquisition by tapping into an already existing marketplace. So this is actually a very huge advantage. You can't be able to find ways to use data to tap into an existing marketplace. It can significantly increase your user acquisition rates. The next thing they did was A/B testing on search and booking flows. So they ran a lot of experiments on listing descriptions. They did a lot of imaging, pricing recommendations to improve on their booking process. So an example here is that users show higher quality photos that are verified by Airbnb photography service, and they were more likely to book. So another thing is the personalized search and dynamic pricing. So they use machine learning to personalize search results based on user behavior. So some examples here is that their prices adjust dynamically based on the season, the demand, the listing, and the rest of that. So a lot of the impact is that they grew over 150 million users worldwide within a very short period of time. They were able to increase their post engagement with dynamic pricing suggestion, leading to more booking. So the next thing we are also going to talk about is lessons from failed growth experiments and how to avoid them. So before I go on with this, does anybody have any questions? Okay, so for this part, you have to understand that not all growth strategies lead to success. So some experiments fail and some even at the biggest companies. So understanding why certain growth initiatives fail can actually help you as a product manager to be able to understand how that's going so that you can avoid making the same mistake. So let's start with Google Glass. I don't know how many people here have heard of Google Glass. Has anybody here rather heard of Google Glass?
The Google Classroom.
Yeah, Google Glass. Google Glass. So Google Glass was a high-tech wearable AR device, but it kind of lacked a clear use case for the mainstream users. So one of the major mistakes that happened here was ignoring product market fit. It was marketed as a consumer product, but early adopters found it too expensive. I think at the time it was around $1,500, and it was socially awkward, basically. It wasn't a good look, it doesn't look good. They were also very concerned about privacy because it had a built-in camera, and that made production very difficult. So the key lessons takeaways is to understand the value of product market fit before trying to scale your product. You have to be able to validate that your product is viable in the market, basically, before attempting to scale. Another lesson here is to always launch an MVP and test demand with real users before mass producing. This will actually reduce how much you spend at the end of the day. So, for instance, AirPods succeeded where Google Glass failed because they were discreet, they were useful, they were small, and they fit into existing user behavior. So another thing we'll also be looking at, another thing we'll talk about is another one I normally like talking about is the Uber in China. They underestimated their local competition. So Uber entered China, I think sometime in between 2012 to 2013, and they spent billions and billions on aggressive expansion. Like they focused so much on expansion because they already had the name going for them. So that expansion faced a lot of fierce competition from local competitors that had a better local strategy, basically. So the other competitors had offered more teller services, they had government connection, and ultimately they ended up acquiring Uber in China, I think around 2016. So it's very important in cases like this to adapt to local markets instead of copy and pasting strategies. So global expansion requires understanding local regulations, consumer behavior, competitors, and so on. For instance, Amazon succeeded in India by adapting India's strategy. So they did things like cash on delivery, regional language support, and the rest. So it's very important wherever you're selling, basically wherever you're selling your market, you have to be able to adapt to their strategy, adapt to the local. They don't bring a foreign strategy to a place where they have an already existing concept. Another interesting one is Clubhouse. Clubhouse had a lot of overhyping, but they didn't have good enough retention strategy. So they were initially invite only. So Clubhouse kind of exploded during that pandemic season, but it failed to sustain the user interest. I mean, I think as soon as the COVID period was over, people moved on from Clubhouse. So they lacked a very strong retention loop. They lacked a lot of engagement model, and their engagement dropped as competitors like Twitter Spaces and the rest copied their model. So users ended up getting tired after the whole long unstructured conversation, and there was no easy way to filter the relevant content on the platform. So the most important lesson to learn here is that sustainable growth requires retention, not just virality. So it's not enough for your product to be viral. It's not enough for you to have very high user engagement or user acquisition rate. You have to understand that sustainable growth requires retention. So viral growth is very temporal. And if your product doesn't keep users engaged, users are going to leave. So things like Reddit and Discord thrived because they had strong communities and structured discussion. But Clubhouse failed because they did not have good enough retention strategies. So for you to be able to avoid failed growth experiments, you have to be able to understand how to validate assumptions before scaling your product. You have to test your ideas. You have to test your ideas with MVP. You have to do a lot of user research, testing before you roll out. You have to be able to understand how to solve real user problem. I mean, if your product doesn't address a pain point, there is no amount of marketing that would save it. There is no amount of marketing you do that would help you get users to stay. you have to focus on retention and not just acquisition. So growth is very meaningless if your users don't stick around. You have to be data driven, but user centric. Your use data, you have to use data to be able to understand user behavior, but you also have to be able to talk to your real users. You have to adapt to strategies in the local market and competitors, because copying and pasting another person's winning model doesn't always work. So you have to adjust for culture, for regulation, for competition, basically. So e-learning from failed experiments like this is just as important as studying the successful ones, because I mean, by analyzing things that went wrong, you can improve on your product strategy. You can even build something more sustainable for growth. So I don't know if anybody has questions at this point. Okay, hi, Ugo, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I asked in the chat earlier. Uh, from what you've explained so far, like growth PM work is very data centric. Like you use a lot, you focus on metrics a lot. But in a small scale organization, like a startup that's just gotten started, it kind of feels like metrics can be misleading. Or so, do you have to wait to a point where a company has achieved scale or at least product market fit before you start really focusing on metrics so hard?
So not exactly, no. So you even have startup metrics, right? So if you're very interested in building your product, rather scaling your product, you have to understand that for each phase of your product, there's a metric for that phase. There's a metric for a product that is yet to go live, like at the point is like the ideation phase. There's a metric for a product that is on their startup phase, on their growth phase, on their maturity phase. Being able to correctly identify which phase your product is would help you understand the metrics to measure for that phase. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it does actually. But can you give an example, like for at okay, can you give an example at two different stages? What metrics might matter? Sorry if I'm taking up.
So for startup phases, user acquisition, trust score, time to value, things like that are the phase. So I always advise people that if you are building a product in your startup phase, don't be so quick to start measuring revenue like monetization, retention, and the rest. Focus on user acquisition and activation. Make sure you get users in and make sure you get them to stay. These are the two most important things. So it's a lot more detailed than that, but the key measure KPIs and metrics you have to measure in this startup phase. And by startup phase, I mean when your product is very new into the market, it's user acquisition rates and time to first value and platform optimization metrics and things like trust score and like that. Yes. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay. So someone asked if there are frameworks for retention. So there are several frameworks for retention actually. So a few of the popular ones, I think there's the hook model. You have the HAT framework. There are so many frameworks, yes, for measuring retention. Okay. So one of the Dom Pete, you have your hand raised.
Yes. Good evening, Ekene.
Yeah, I'm here. So what's your question?
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. It does appear as if the growth PM area or branch of PM is a new thing. So if it isn't, if it's been there before, then how come traditional PMs are not like it wasn't incorporated into the normal curriculum before? So because it does appear as if it's a distinct field from the traditional PM field.
Yeah, well, so I think what I would say is just like product management as a whole, few years something ago, nobody really know what product management is, but the role actually existed within organization. So it's just more or less like people actually personalizing a lot of what these roles and responsibilities are. So traditional product management has always included a focus on the growth aspect, but just to some extent, I think most of the time the sales and business development, marketing people used to take it on. But the specific role of a growth product manager, most of the time, that like back then was not really in existence. I think it just came on like in recent years, basically. So a lot of factors that contributed to this new rise is the emphasis on data-driven decision making. And one person cannot do everything at the same time. So you have to be able to have there has to be a difference between the traditional PM who normally runs the development team, product team, engineering team, and the growth PM who normally faces the business market aspect of product management. There were a lot of digital products and platforms that started having a lot of scalable user bases that needed a more hands-on approach. They became more sophisticated basically in the market. So it's more or less like trying to be more strategic about handling how growth of a product or scalability of a product is being handled. So I don't know if that answers your question somewhat. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the STEM growth product manager is relatively new, and the underlying principles of things like product growth have always been very important, yes, but this specialized role has been very new, and it like reflects that there is a lot of importance in terms of data-driven growth in today's market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
It does answer my question, but now does it mean that small organizations, maybe startups, does it like raise the need for them to have like 2 product managers on their team?
So most companies, most businesses, especially the small business, don't necessarily need to have 2, but they would prefer to have a product manager that has the experience of growth. So both a traditional PM and growth PM at the same time. Most larger organizations like to separate the role.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I think I'll just take one more question actually. Hi, Becky, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you so much. My question is a bit similar to that of Don. Well, my question is regarding a day in the life of a traditional PM, because I'm thinking, okay, as a product manager, I was thinking, okay, one of the things you'll be doing is, I thought it has to incorporate the work of a technical PM and a growth PM. Although I'm not yet in the field, but with a lot of trainings and all that. So I'm trying to understand how a traditional PM will be working in a company, and how it will different from being specific, maybe probably working as or training as a growth PM or training as a technical PM. So I just want to have I want to make sure my expectations, I really understand my expectations regarding the field. That okay, should I really work towards a growth PM or just working towards a more traditional PM? So yeah, because with what I've learned so far, I'm thinking, okay, as a traditional PM, you should have an understanding, you should be able to work with the agile team and have an understanding of the technology and everything which they use. Yes.
Yeah,
And,
so
yeah.
basically the question I have to say is that a day in the life of a traditional product manager is a very diverse thing.
Okay.
It depends heavily on the specific industry, on the company size, on your product life cycle stage, like the stage your product is. I mean, the general overview here is that in the morning you have your catch up and planning section, afternoon you have your meetings, collaboration, evenings or afternoon, mid afternoon. So you have product development and strategy, but it's very diverse. So yeah, I mean, one person might not be able to give you a detailed answer. They will just give you a generic answer because it varies based on your industry, based on the company size, based on whether your product is not in the market or still being built or is in maturity phase and things like that. So it's very, very different, very, very diverse.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Marlene. Okay, Joshua, let me just take your question before I go. Kind of in a rush, but let me take your question. Answer me off for some time. Hi, Joshua. Are you have
Okay,
your
hello.
hands up or you can hold up?
I didn't realize that I was on mute. So,
Okay.
yes, now this is an issue that as a growth manager, you have so many metrics to track, to measure. Now, this is a challenge that I actually often have too, like applying these processes so that you will not get to be over reliant on the data that it affects your work, and you start having a kind of metric paralysis. So with all these plenty metrics everywhere, how exactly do you know exactly what areas to like focus on? And if you do not pay attention to certain ones, wouldn't it like affect the business growth overall?
Hi, sorry, Joshua. Can you repeat the question? I didn't get it properly.
Okay. So I was just speaking generally on metrics, like having so many metrics to keep track of as a growth product manager. So I'm asking that to avoid metric paralysis, having to be too reliant on data, that you now lose focus and your work is delayed. That how do you know exactly which areas? How do you focus and manage these things so that you know exactly which areas to like track and the ones to not pay attention to, and the ones that you do not pay attention to, are they not going to affect the business overall?
Yeah, so I think the key here is to be able to know the right thing to track at the particular stage of your product. So when it comes to growth product management, there's a lot of things to track, actually. But knowing the ones that are important is also a good skill to have. So everything still boils down to your product, what your goal is, and the stage, life cycle stage of your product. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I think I can do with that for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Over to you, Marlene.
All right. Thank you so much, Ikini. That was a very insightful session. I told you that Ikini used to deliver, like she delivers. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for staying till this time. It's so good to have us on the call. We're super grateful. Product Dive is grateful and all of that. Yes, so I dropped a link to the feedback form. Please just take a moment to fill the feedback form so that you can also have access to the recorded session. Yes, so you can always go back to listen to it. And most importantly, we have a growth product management program course starting March 8th. So it's a 7 weeks program. And trust me, you are going to learn a lot. Week 1, you are going to learn the fundamentals of growth product management. Then you learn in week 2, data-driven decision making, retention strategies. In week 3, you learn pricing strategies and revenue optimization. In week 4, expansion strategies and market analysis. Then in week 5, hands-on 2 session with mixed panel. Then in week 6, there's also another hands-on 2 session with Google Analytics and Hotjar. Then to sum it up, in week 7, you'll be having a capstone project where you would apply everything that you've learned to create a comprehensive growth strategy for your product and with expert feedback. So it's going to be a whole lot. Just imagine the masterclass that we had. It was this insightful. So just imagine how it would be. So the Growth Product Management Program is 100% online. So even if you are not in Nigeria or you're wondering how would you be able to cover the classes, it's online. And it holds every Saturday. We have the morning session, which is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then we have the afternoon session, which is 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So at the end of each class session, we're going to give you access to the recorded session and that recorded session, you will have 3 months access to the recorded session. Then you also have lifetime access to the instructor slide. So you can always go back to this. It's not just be like, oh, the class session has ended, what next? Yeah, so that's it. Then you also get a certificate of completion at the end of the program. So you can make payments or to pay instantly for the program. You can visit our website, productdive.com, or you can send us an email, admissions@productdive.com. I'm going to drop the link on the comment section, so that on the chat session rather, so that you'll be able to get access to all of that. So you can visit our website. Enrollment is already currently going on. You can visit our website. If you decide to make full payment, the full payment for the program is 385,000, or you can decide to make 3 times payment, where you split your payment into 3 different parts. And that means you'll be paying 135,000 3 times, or you can decide to pay twice. That's 197,500 2 times. Or you can decide to use our tuition financing, where you spread your payments over 3 to 6 months. So it means that, oh, you are interested in the program, but you may not be able to do the full payment or the 3-time payment or the 2-time payment. You can also use our tuition financing option to do that. Yes, and also if you want to speak with a program advisor to just get more insight on the program, to get more details, probably what I'm not saying now on the call, you can book an office hour session. I think someone already booked an office hour session today. So you can book an office hour session because I've dropped the link there. And so during the office hour session, it's a 15-minute free call session where you get to ask more questions and will provide you with clarity and all of that. So yes, that's it. With this, I hope that you had a very, very good time in the masterclass. So I just want to, before we go, this is already 7:32. I know we would want to just drop off now. So before we go, can anybody, maybe 1 or 2 persons, just unmute and to tell us how their experience was in the masterclass? I know we had like 2 sessions. So just tell me, you're free to speak on either of the sessions that happened, either the one with mixed panel or the session with Ikini. So maybe someone can just unmute and just say something about how the session went for you, what stood out for you, and all of that. Okay. Anybody? Okay. All right. Oluwatosin, please go for it.
Hi, Malin. Hi, everyone. Although I joined late, so I listened more to the Kenneth session. Although I'm still an enthusiast, sorry, pardon me, into the field, but the Kenneth session was really insightful. Opening another channel of products, and different ways to go about growth product management. In summary, I found it very, very insightful.
Okay, thank you very much. And just to put a spice to it. Ikene is part of our instructors for the Great Product Management Program. We have other instructors. Ikene and Olatusimi, they are part of our instructing team. So we have other instructors. We have Olumide Lawrence. We have Olabinjo and all of that. And all these people, they are experts in their field. So be sure that if you want to sign up for the Great Product Management Program, you're in good hands. I mean, you are in very safe hands. I also have Fermi. I can't forget Fermi. His classes are always so interactive and very interactive and hands-on. So you cannot, there's never a dull moment. I mean, when you're in class, you cannot just shy away and say, oh, I don't want to speak. Fermi will pick you out and you must talk. So just to put that out there. So does any other person want to say anything before we call it a night?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yes,
I have
please go.
something to share.
Okay,
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you to all the speakers and indeed all the attendees also. It's really an opportunity, an eye-opening one. The first speaker, I quite enjoyed his class on mixed panel. So I haven't used that tool before anyway, but at least what I got today opened my eyes to what is possible with mixed panel. And what stood out for me there is that you get into an organization and at least one way to impress your manager or your employers is like when they come up with there is need for tools and probably they are using paid ones, you can always suggest an unpaid one. And definitely it will save them cost and they will be happy with you bringing up that suggestion. So that alone can, the open way for you in that place. So I really, that resonates with me. I really appreciate that. Then Ekenetu was indeed very awesome. At least that when you are tracking your metrics, that with the stage where your product is, your product life cycle, the stage where you are, will determine what is important, what you focus on tracking at that time. So it's not just I want to track everything. We know that there are so many things. There are so many metrics to track, but where you are, your product life cycle, that stage determines what is important at that time to track. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
All right, thank you very much. I know that in the last quote, I was in the session because yes, I'm the programs manager for the Great Product Management Program. And I took one of the things that I took off too was that it's not everything that you track at the same time because it can become overwhelming and you might now lose focus on what you're supposed to do. So, but when you have data, you'll be able to now make informed decisions to say, okay, this is what we are focusing on one metric or two metrics at a time, so that after we are done with this, then we can now move on to the next. But if you are like, oh, I want to do everything, it can be very overwhelming. So yes, I can relate to what you just said. All right, thank you so much. Someone is asking, how can I get access to the slides? So I'm going to post the feedback form. You can fill the feedback form. So we would share the recorded session with you also, and also the slide. Then also for the person asking how to join the Product Dive UK community, please join the general community, and from there we would put you in the UK community. So I already dropped the links for the two. The first link I dropped is the link to the feedback form, then also the link to join the Product Dive community. So yes, thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate that we stayed till this time. And thank you so much. And from all of us at Product Dive, we want to say a big thank you. And we've come to the end of this masterclass session. We hope to see you in another masterclass session. And also, most importantly, we hope to see you in class. I hope to see you in class. As a program manager, I hope to see you in class. I hope to walk you through the 7 weeks of immersive learning in the Great Product Management Program. Remember, the course is starting March 8th, so you don't want to miss out on anything. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.